welcome to the Tuesday Night Jam post lesson with Kim Driggs. Just had an awesome lesson with Kim and kind of had a little bit of breakthrough, I think, maybe in how I'm putting together solos. So usually when I'm playing these things, I'm doing what I call triplets. It's not really a triplet in terms of timing, but it is 3 notes in a row and then back one. So let's just give an example here. 1, 2, 3. See, let me count it out. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see how the 1 is always going back a note in the scale, in the pentatonic. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What I learned tonight, man, it's makes so much sense. It's so cool, and I think this is what a lot of guitarists do, because I mean it could easily lend itself to quarter notes. Is to do 4 notes in a row, and then go back to the second note in that progression. Start there and go 4 up from there. So watch this. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, the really cool thing about this one is when you do this pattern, just because of the way the guitar is set up, and especially when you stay in this position, the so-called Allman Brothers position, your hand is barely moving at all, because when you take that step back to the second note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, you're going back to the second note in the progression, your finger's already right where it needs to be. So it's hard to explain this, but let me just see if I can show you slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See how my finger's already right where it needs to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'm ending, the 4th note is on the B string, 7th fret. And then the next note in the progression of 4 is right there. It's on the E string, 7th fret. So I just flatten my finger and I'm right there. So watch this. Now, when you do it there, it's not going to be right underneath on the same fret because it's the B string. So you got to use your pinky. But the rest of them are, it's just because of the way the guitar's set up. Your finger is already where it needs to be. You just need to flatten it and hit and go back to the higher string. So like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So even it's literally every, like once you get to the lower 4 strings, it's going to be every single time you go back to that second position in the 4. I know I'm not explaining this in a clear way. It's hard to explain, but if you think of it as like the first 4 notes I play is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I reset on the second note in that progression. I start a new 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I keep pushing the progression down 1 note at a time, but I'm playing 4 notes in a row every time. Lloyd, does that make sense? Thanks, man. No idea. It's very little feedback here from people. Thanks, man. So let's try jamming on that. And the other thing that he showed me that would work really well for this song is to throw in a blue note. So that's basically the 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're looking at just the D major pentatonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 5 notes, and then the 6 is the octave. So the blue note is right in between the second and third. So 1. sounds kind of bluesy. So then it's also up here. So if we start here. Okay, so I'm going to try to do the quadruplet thing and throw in some blue note here and there. That little note there is what we were talking about the last time we jammed on this loop, which is throwing in the G note every once in a while, which is in the D major scale, but not in the D major pentatonic. So to come out of that, what Kim suggested is on a jam like this, you're pretty much just playing the D major scale, really. So what I said last time maybe isn't the way to think about it, where you're D major pentatonic, and then you're coming out of it and back in. You're really just in the D major scale the whole time, which is definitely true. Now, when I say that this is going to change how I play, it's because of that little pattern right there. Okay, and so I learned that, and I started doing that here just naturally because of what we were talking about earlier, how you're going down, and then you're just flattening on that fret to go back up to that high string. So that's what I'm doing right there. I'm flattening the F fret and basically picking between the D and the G string, and then just kind of coming out of that every once in a while and hitting this, the root, actually, the D note. Between those for a second. Triplet. Four. And a good way to hit that blue note is to just bend right into it. Now, the thing that I definitely got to work on, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate very well, is doing the quadruplets up the scale. That's been tricky for me because instead of going down and then flattening up, that's very natural because my hand is coming up from the bottom of the neck. So if I'm holding this B string on the 7th fret, all I gotta do is bring it down to hit the E string. But going down, it's a different story. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I can't really just flatten it. I gotta roll that finger back to get down to a lower string and do this quadruplet thing. Okay. See, I'm not even really doing it. I'm taking my finger off the string and I'm just going back up to a lower string. What I really want to be doing is positioning myself on those 2 strings from the get-go. Actually, that works. So just kind of bar this whole thing for that. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, when you're doing the Allman Brothers position, you kind of just bar that bass fret and just. Anyway, just awesome exercises. Just felt like an epiphany moment in that lesson. So I just wanted to share that right away with y'all. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks.